All right, so we're going to jump into the message. We're going to hit this hard today. We'll see how far we get because we've been talking about the power of staying power. That is our faith, right? Our faith, its strength. I use words like fortitude. How much fortitude do you have? Fighting that fight of faith, that determination, what I like to call holy stubbornness. Did you know stubbornness can be holy? Yes, it can. Yes, it can. If you're going to be stubborn for God. You know, not against God, but stubborn with God. And perseverance, a resolve, your constitution, your ingredients. Some would say, what are you made of? And so we are people of faith, that God gives us purpose and destiny, and we are people that will press in and persevere. We've been looking at the story of Nehemiah and how Nehemiah in the building of the wall required fortitude, determination, holy stubbornness to face all the opposition of the enemy that tries to draw them off your mark, get you off point, get you distracted, get you out of place. Nehemiah 6:3 was our key because it describes our position and our spirit that will stay resolved to not come down from the wall, to stay full of power, full of strength, faith, determination that we find in our identity with Jesus Christ, right? To be strong. So we were looking at Nehemiah 6:3. This there it is on the slide. So I sent messengers to them saying, I am doing a great work, so I cannot come down. Why should the work cease while I leave it and go down to you? Other translations, let's go ahead and roll through those. I am doing a great work. I can't come down. I am doing a great work. Why should I stop? I'm doing an important work and can't go down there. I am engaged in a great work and I can't come down. My work for the Lord is too important to stop now and go there. I can't afford to slow down the work. So in our power of staying, we've looked at this power that will cause us to see things differently, to act differently. What does it look like? Stay requires an accurate perspective. Let's go to the next one. An accurate perspective. Stay fully embraces the inward work of God. We talked about that you're grabbing a hold of what God is doing in your heart. Fully embraces the inward work of God. Thirdly, stay discerns the middle ground. That's the hardest, most vulnerable place you can be in. It's when you're stuck in the middle of something. You're stuck in what God is doing in your life. You no longer see the beginning and you no longer see the end. You just know you're in the stuff. You're right in the middle and it's the hardest point because you feel like you can't go forward, but you know you can't go back either. Discerning the middle ground. We never are going to quit something that has the great long-term potential that you have just because we can't deal with the stress of the moment. There will be stresses of the moment, right? But this too will pass, right? There will be joy in the morning. There really will be. And God is honing us, shaping us, forming us. That faith that's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And the incredible thing is, your resolve becomes stronger. Have you ever noticed that in a negative sense? If you're in a fight, and have you ever noticed that at a certain point in that fight, you actually pick up energy? Huh? Come on, you know what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, this is the only way I can kind of communicate it is on the negative side, is because we most identify with this, because we understand the emotions of anger and stubbornness and, my way or the highway. And so when you're really engaged in the battle, and you right are in the middle of it, you actually gain more energy and you get more stubborn. It grows. Well, it can work that way with God too. When you're stuck in the conflict with your own self or with the work of the devil, the opposition, things that are opposing you, things that are trying to distract you, things that's trying to take you off your spot, things that's trying to take you off your point, you know what? Let that thing work in you and get a more of a righteous, holy anger. That's right. That's right. Get mad at the right thing. By the way, anger is not sin, and you know that. Just direct it the right way. Put it to the right thing, and it will empower you. It will ignite you. So that's important with you when you're talking about staying. You know, staying where you're supposed to be. Spiritually, emotionally, in every way. All right, number 4. This is new stuff. Stay practices strategic quitting. You mean quitting is in the vocabulary of staying? Yes, it is. There is a time to quit, but not quit where you are on the wall. Not quit and give up your ground. Not quit and give up your space or whatever it is. You stay on the wall, but you practice what is called strategic that will enhance your progress. There are certain things you cut out or you quit. All right, I'll give you examples. Here we go. Because your ability to practice strategic quitting will keep you on the wall, not off the wall. So strategic quitting. Let's see it. Go to the next one. There it is. Okay, so we're going to go with this. Quit being mediocre average. It's a waste. Do not settle for mediocrity. So, if we're being mediocre, quit being mediocre. Wow, isn't that simple? No, I'm not saying it's simple. But I am saying it's essential. It's important to stay alert and realize when you have settled in, you have settled. You have settled. Maybe for a little comfort, you've settled. But don't settle. And if you're going to quit, quit strategically. Quit the mediocre stuff. Quit, and we talked about this a little bit. I gave you the illustration of changing lines in the in the store. You know how we want to change lines and the whole art of changing lines that you think is shorter and faster? So there's a strategic quit for you. Quit changing lines. Quick fixes waste time and energy. In other words, stay your course. Amen. Get in there, stay in there. Don't let anything distract you. What else can we quit? Quit waiting around for your problems to be fixed. Just quit waiting. You're going to keep waiting. I know you could take this the wrong way, but another way that we know that we're waiting for our problems to be fixed, sometimes the only thing we're doing to get our problems fixed is praying. All right, yeah, I know that's not a popular thing, but it's like the pastor's saying this. Is he saying quit praying? I'm not saying quit praying, but I am saying do something too. Because there's a purpose behind your prayer. You pray and then you do. Just like in the Word we're taught, you hear and then you do. Don't be just a hearer. So let me say this. It's not in the scripture like this, but don't just be a prayer. Be a doer. Don't just be a hearer of the word, but be a doer of the word. So it works this way in this too. So you have to think about, am I really? I put it out there like, oh, and we even say it like this, I'm just praying about it. What do you mean you're just praying about it? There comes a time, and I'm not saying there's not a time for that, where you just pray. especially if you're taking a time to fast and you're waiting on God. And we love that part. We love to say, okay, I am fasting, I am humbling myself, and I am taking a moment, and I am waiting on God. So I am just praying and fasting right now. That's great, but that's not the permanent solution. It's not. Sooner or later, you got to get out of the closet. The prayer closet. You got to get out of that prayer closet. And when you leave the prayer closet, then you got to go to work. So quit waiting around for your problems to be fixed. Next one, quit unfruitful methods, tactics that don't work. Why do you keep banging your head against the wall when it's not working? The point is, you would never do that. You think, if I thought I could hit the wall with my head and it would make me smarter, I would do it. But what happens is you do it and it doesn't work. But then you know what the problem is? Your belief system is you still believe if you keep hitting your head hard enough on the wall, it will make you smarter. Now, I'm using a ridiculous example. But we do certain methods and things that are just as ridiculous. Yeah. We really do. And we're not getting it. To have the end in mind and understand, okay? Because this will keep you on the wall when you're working, and I say this when I'm training people too, and I hear this in the health and wellness industry, is that I always like to say as a trainer, it's not about working hard all the time. Sometimes, yeah, but it's not always about working hard, it's working smart. Amen. Work with intelligence. Work smartly. That's what this is talking about. So, quit the stupid things that aren't working. Drop it. You try something else. Quit the good and go after the great. Don't settle for good. Excellence. Our God is a God of excellence, isn't he? God never, well, I almost said he never creates crap. Oh, I just did. But, he doesn't do junk. He doesn't do garbage. And you know what? He doesn't even just do good. He does excellently. Our God is excellent. An excellent standard. And he empowers you to create and reproduce that same excellence in and through you. You are his workmanship, right? How about this one? Quit, what else? Strategic quitting. Quit micromanaging people. You've heard that term, micromanaging? We talk about people that are high maintenance. Well, you know what's worse than a person who's high maintenance? To me, really, it's a person who's got the same bent, but they happen to be in authority and position. And they micro manage. They want to be the high manager of everything and have their hand in everything. But you know what? Your mind and your heart and your emotions are not designed to do that. They're just not. Multitasking in our community, in our society, I think for the most part is a curse. Wow. Yeah, I said it. I do. Because we're not designed to live like that. We're really not. I know we joke about, men can never multitask because we're wired a certain way. Only women can multitask because they got all this stuff. Yeah, but then look at the fruit of that sometimes. That they become the victims of all this stress and emotion and anxiety and all this stuff they were never meant to bear or carry because they got the autism going on of everything around. And I hate to say it, but you know what, men, we fall into it too, all the time. We obsess over one thing. at a time. We do. We obsess over one thing at a time. Okay, now it's time to obsess on this. But see, you know what? Look at that and just think about the way a woman is wired. What you're obsessed with that one thing, multiply that 10 times. And that's what the ladies are dealing with. All at once. And so micromanaging, I'm not sure has been the most healthy thing. Multitasking and all of that. So how can we stop ourselves? Really think about the distractions. Staying on the wall, staying on point. And know that it's okay. Because what happens is sometimes when we focus on that one thing, the essential, the major, the priority, we do that and we think about all these other things over here. Ironically, we can feel guilt that we're not measuring up or thinking about that over there and doing anything about, what about that? What about that? What about that? And the Holy Spirit's like, what about this? Right here, in the moment, right now. What about it? So, stop sweating the small stuff. Stop sweating, and really it is small stuff in comparison. Next, quit surrounding yourself with people who don't believe in you. Yeah, that's right. Our companions, our friendships, our relationships, are they for you? Or is it something else? Do they love you? Are they in your corner? Or are they trying to tear you down? Would they, if they could, exchange places with you and be on the wall where you are and them and you to get down, be brought down? That's important. And quit using cruise control. Quit using your cruise control. When you're driving through the city, did you ever try using your cruise control? Not a good idea. You know why? Because there's too many adjustments you got to make, that you need to make. It's not good for Christians to go on cruise control at all. You keep your pedal to the metal. You keep your foot on the gas, your foot on the brake, your eyes on the instrument panel, your eyes scanning the traffic outside. I mean, there's too many things to look out for. Amen. All right. So, strategic quitting. Is that cool or what? Yes. Get busy quitting. Get busy. Get busy. 5, what else will stay power do? It focuses beyond the killer distractions. It focuses beyond the killer distractions. We've been talking a lot about distractions, but your sensitivity and your alertness to these killer distractions will keep you on the wall long after you've seen others come down. What's going to keep you on the wall? Those are the folks that they don't become easily distracted, and if they do, they spot it right away and realize this is the devil. I'm not mad at him or her. I don't fight against flesh and blood. I'm not going to get distracted in this personal idea. This could be a distraction to what God's trying to do. we know in the story in Nehemiah 6, we read this the first week, Sanballat and Geshem, the two guys that sent a message for Nehemiah to come down, they wanted him to come off the wall and talk to them and meet with them in the village in the plain of Ono. And really, we talked about the Ono thing. You need to be aware. That's your first clue when somebody wants to take you to a place called Ono. Because Ono is distractions. Wants you to come down, to compromise, to deviate from your work. Ono is coming off the wall to deal with your critics. Do I need to answer my critics? Do I always need to come down off the wall and answer? Why should I stop what I'm doing to take time to give some answer to a critic that really doesn't give a rip anyway? They're not really interested. They just want to tear you down. They just want to discredit what you're doing, who you are, what you got going on. So stay focuses beyond the killer distractions. 6, stay refuses to defend proven motives. This is a hard one. This is a hard one because when we get our feelings hurt, when I get my feelings hurt, I'll just tell you, when I get my feelings hurt, I'll tell you why they're hurt, why I'm bruised. Because you don't understand my true heart. And you misjudge my motivations. And you begin to build a whole case of what you think I am and what you think I think. And why I do what I do. You come up with your own little scenario, your own little idea. And people have done that to you too. Have they not? All 3 of you? Only 3. I need to have you stand up here and preach next to me or something. Because did you ever think about that people are the only ones that are judgmental? Animals don't even have a capacity to be judgmental. They go by instinct. They go by their senses. I understand that. But you know what? They're pretty accurate when they discern something on you. Animals are actually more accurate than people are when it comes to understanding the condition or the mindset or the thing that's going on. I mean, it's true. You've heard it. But, you know, I've read, when I was a kid, I rode a lot of horses, and one of the first things they'd say is, you know what, you better not be afraid. Because they know when you're afraid. And when I first heard that, I thought, well, okay, I'm a good actor. I'm a good actor. I'm just going to, have body language. It's going to be, but inside I'm scared. And I remember the first time, I remember the first time I was probably about 6 years old. I do remember this. I got on this horse that, of course, as a 6-year-old, this horse looked humongous. I don't know how big he was, but he looked big to me. And they put me up on him, and I'm sitting there on the saddle with him. His name was Sterno. Yeah. His name was Sterno, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm remembering what my uncle said. Don't act like you're afraid. Don't act like you're afraid. Don't be afraid, because if you're afraid, he's going to know you're afraid. And if he knows you're afraid, then he's going to, do something. Okay, I can do this. I wanted to ride this horse so bad. So I'm up there. And so I'm up there, and inside, though, I'm scared. And so I give him a little kick, and we start to go. And now we're starting to move, so I'm a little more scared. Now we're moving. And I don't know if he's going to take off on me. And of course, I know what to do if he does. I know how to use the bit. But I think he smelled a little fear. Because he turned around and he bit my leg. But then I got mad. But that's the amazing thing, is all of a sudden, I thought, I can do this. I don't need to be afraid. But see, animals, they know. But people are very judgmental. We size people up very quickly. And your motives for doing things, this is one of our most painful areas, is when you feel like you have been misjudged. Right? But you also have to get beyond that and not care. You do. When your motives are pure and you know what they are between you and God. It's you and God. My conscience is clear. My heart is clear. I know what my motives are. They are good motives. They're God motives. They're pure. And people aren't always going to see that. And in that, they're going to challenge my motives to get me off the wall. Your absolute trust of your motivation, what you really know it to be, will keep you on the wall. When there's other people around defending themselves. Talk about a distraction. Sometimes the worst thing we can do is get caught up in the defensive game. Because that takes all your time, all your energy, and all of your virtue. Everything just drains out of you. Don't let that happen. Don't feel an obligation that you always have to defend when you know inside of your heart you stand before God as absolutely right and pure in your motives. Yes?
Praise the Lord.
Nehemiah 6:5-9, Sanballat, that rascal, he sent his servant to Nehemiah as before, the 5th time, with an open letter in his hand. And it was written, it is reported among the nations in Geshem, says that you and the Jews plan to rebel. He's challenging his motives. He's saying, hey, I know you. I know you. I know what you're going to do. And the rumors are out there. And they're true. You're planning a rebellion. You want to be king. And you've even appointed prophets to proclaim concerning you at Jerusalem, saying there is a king in Judah. Now these matters, Nehemiah, these things are going to be reported. I'm ratting on you, buddy. In fact, it's going to be given to the king that you're planning a rebellion. You've even established prophets to speak in the name of God and say that you're going to be a king. We know what you're up to. You've been telling us all you want to do is build the wall. Oh, build the wall. Oh, please. You're up to something. That's what's going on here. He said, okay, so that's true. So come, Nehemiah, come, therefore, and let us talk. Let us take counsel together. Come on off the wall. Let's talk about it, Nehemiah. I want to hear your explanation. I want to hear your defense for these rumors. I want to see how you'll spin this. I want to see how you'll justify your actions that you're doing here, that you say is one thing, but we know it's another thing. So it's time we talk. Come on, let's go to the plain of Ono, and let's talk about it. Then I sent for him, saying, this is what Nehemiah responded to him. I love it. May we all be like Nehemiah. He just said this. No such things as you say are being done, but you invent them in your heart. For they are all trying to make us afraid, saying their hands will be weak in the work and it will not be done. Now therefore, O God, strengthen my hands.
Amen. Thank you, Lord.
That's it. No, that's it. Nehemiah didn't come off the wall. Nehemiah didn't sit out at the table of, negotiation and peace or to defend himself. He simply sent back the word and said, look, buddy, here's the deal. This is what you say, but what you say is not true. It is not being done. And that's it. No defense. No explanation. No summarization. No position paper. Why he's doing what he's doing. And then he simply what does he do? He goes to God. He says, God, strengthen my hands now. The heat of the furnace has really been turned up. But here I am. Now my motives are being challenged. And Lord, I don't have to defend myself. You know my heart. You know my heart. You know who I am. And you know my heart is right with you. And that's all that matters. That's all I ever care about. If I'm good with you, then I'm good. You got that? Amen. You receive that? Proverbs 16:2 says that all the ways of a man are pure in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the spirits, right? Oh, the issues of the heart. We just think we have each other figured out. It's only the Lord who weighs that out and really knows the heart, the issues of the heart. Your motives do matter. Don't get me wrong. They do matter. Just make sure they're the right motives. Amen. Check your heart. Motives defined. That which is at the root of all actions. Our motives are defined as that which is at the root of all actions, impelling actions. Motives will be questioned. Yes, they will. By faraway and close friends. And they will be questioned by workers. They'll be questioned by people. It's not a question of if your motives. It's when your motives will be challenged. Especially when you're trying to do something that's a little bit off the grid. I feel like Liveheart's a little bit off the grid at times. Every pastor I ever talked to about this church, don't get me wrong, pastors have been very, very supportive, very complimentary. They love what we're doing. They do. They don't really totally understand it. They don't. And that's fine because I don't totally understand it. I just know in my heart God's doing something. And I'm trying to go with the flow. That's the motive of my heart. I just want to do what he wants. Even if I don't understand it all, it's okay. And even if other people don't understand it, that's okay. We're going to get there. And sometime we're going to understand it all. Amen. We really are. So in your motives, they do matter. But these are simple questions you ask yourself. And believe me, I've asked them of myself more than one occasion, more than many occasions. Why do I do what I do? Why do I say what I say? What are the hidden motives of my heart? That's right. Talk to yourself. Talk to God, but talk to yourself. Crazy people, people that talk to themselves are not crazy. They're smart. All right, you don't believe that, but it's true. You all do it. Some of you just don't do it out loud, but you do it. But there is no need to defend a pure motive. There isn't. A defensive attitude and behavior is detrimental. It's detrimental to you, and it will cost you in the long run. This has been something in my life, all my life, I've had to deal with. It's going through times of realizing I am too defensive. I'm just too defensive. I need to lay it out there more and just be more humble. And sometimes I get out there and I can get in a defensive mode, and then afterwards I'm thinking, why? Why did I do that? Sometimes you need healing in your heart for things. You've been wounded. You've been damaged. And it's part of the healing process. But at the same time, know that those are signals. When you start defending something you should not and do not need to be defending, they're signals of some areas that God wants to heal, touch, deliver you from. Defensiveness is what? It's when you feel you have to rationalize, you have to explain, you have to defend, and you have to make excuses about an action of yourself, action or yourself, explaining why you have to do things the way you do. Am I saying we never defend? We know Paul, the Apostle Paul, he defended the faith. He defended the truth of the resurrection of Jesus. That's what he spent his time defending. And yes, he even felt a need that he felt like he had to defend his position as an apostle. There are times, but his motives were pure. But it also had a way of introducing his testimony too about Jesus and what Jesus has done in his life. All right, the last one. We're doing it. Number 7. This is it. Firmly grasp things that matter most. They will help you prioritize, and you will hang on to the things that matter most and get rid of the things that don't matter. Discard. Your grip on the things that matter most will keep you on the wall when others have lost focus. When you lose focus, what happens when you lose focus? When you lose focus, you get stuck in this reaction mode. You're reacting to everything. You're feeling busy but unproductive. When you lose your focus, you feel busy but unproductive. When you lose your focus, the list. Do you make task lists? Any of you do a list? Some of you don't do a list, but I'm a list person. I make lists. Task lists, always rolling over and over. You know what that means? You know what that means. You make your list. Oh, here's my intentions, right? Going to get this done, this done, this done. Then a week goes by. Oh, man, nothing got done. Roll it over into the next week. So there it is. Lose focus. I must have lost focus somewhere. Activity-oriented instead of result-oriented. Activity-oriented instead of result-oriented. In other words, you've got a lot of busyness, just no results. Right? You're a busy person. We love to do that. Americans love to do that. In fact, it was in the news. They were talking about, is the whole statement of being busy the new way of bragging? You know? Because we love doing that. Oh, how's it going? Oh, man, I'm really busy. I'm just busy. And, pastors have been doing that for years. You get into a pastor's meeting, a pastor's fellowship. Hey, pastor, how's it going? Oh, man, we're busy. We're just so busy. And sometimes I want to say, you know what? I'm not busy. Really? I mean, I can't imagine what the reaction would be. You're busy? Wow, that's great. I'm not busy. Because busyness sometimes equates with this valuable, good thing. And That's not necessarily the case. It may be you're busy because you have lost your focus and the essentials don't matter anymore. You lose your focus, you can't make a connection between your ministry activities and your life vision and purpose. So here's the last thing, as Sharon's going to lead us into worship. Things that matter the most. Here's what matters the most for you to focus on, not get distracted. Don't come off the wall. First, your heart, right with God and filled with God. Second, your relationships are kept pure, they're kept healthy, and they're growing. So you notice it's God and relationships. God and relationships. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. You fulfilled it right there. Those are the two things that mattered the most to God when he said, what's the greatest commandments? Be right with God. Be right in your relationships. Love them. Third, your life and ministry dedicated to serving the purposes of God. Next, your life focused on disciplining those who need it. Discipling those who need it. Yeah, actually, that's right. Teaching, discipling for other people too. Focused on other people and growing them up in the faith. What else is it matters? Your dream kept alive through prayer and faith. And last, your commitment to give 100% to the ministry that God has given you. And yes, even your church where God has placed you. Your family. Those are the things that really matter. To focus on those will keep us on the wall.